The SEC just confirmed what's coming for XRP. Guys, we've been waiting for the XRP ETF for a long time. And isn't this the time that XRP ETFs really go up? Because we really need an XRP ETF if we want to push to $4, $5. So that's what I'm hoping for. SEC new plan to reform crypto regulation. So this includes XRP.
At home, we've been waiting absolutely patiently for the good news to start flowing in. And I know
we've been hit with lots of bad news in September, and obviously Septembers are known to go down. So just keep that in mind, guys, as well.
Some of you might say, oh, I am sick and tired. Every single day we have good news, but the price of XRP isn't blasting off. Well, here's the deal, guys, and this is what you guys need to remember. Everything is based around M2, money supply, okay? And
I want to say the M2 money supply is how much money the banks have set up, or the people have the money in the banks. And this is usually delayed by a few months. This is what he didn't say. So yeah, these good news that we get, if the price doesn't move, it usually takes 1 to 3 months. So that's going to be in October, November, because the M2 money supply went up this month and last month. So yeah, in like October and November, that's when we get the good news.
If the money supply isn't increasing, it's very unlikely we're going to get these absolutely insane gigapumps like we had back in January, December, and November 2024. And, well, guess what? Rate cuts are right around the corner here again. So you better lock in, because the 3 months after rate cuts happen is when the majority of that price action generally is foreseen in the markets for cryptocurrency anyways. And so now is the time to be patient, because if the Fed's going to cut rates now, much like what happened in November of last year, things are going to get insane in the next 3-month period of time. So let's talk about it. The SEC has unveiled a new rulemaking plan to reform crypto regulation. This is insanely massive on so many different levels. First and foremost, though, it's going to help Wall Street actually start to do initial coin offerings, IDOs.
I mean, that's the regulation that people were begging for the last 10 years, but because regulation takes so much time, it was not so easy. And now the government is finally like doubling down on this one.
Basically, massive pre-sales in the crypto space to start raising money so that they can fund their own crypto projects. And yes, those crypto projects are going to be hosted on pre-existing blockchains. Many people think this is going to be on Ethereum, Solana, XRP, you name it, but they're going to be issuing their own stablecoins, and those stablecoins will most likely be cross-chain in the future. Meaning, yes, they might initially launch on Ethereum, but eventually those stablecoins will also be cross-chain on XRPL, on Solana, on the Binance Smart Chain. They're going to be available everywhere. And so, with massive banks offering these stablecoins potentially to all of their clients internationally, we can see trillions of dollars come in because of what's happening right here. This is massive on so many different levels, and this is why I am so stoked today. You can see the SEC outlines several of its initiatives to overhaul existing crypto policies.
So yeah, all of the cryptocurrency policies that we saw, I feel like that will massively change, especially with Clarity Act. In the next 1 to 3 years, crypto will get probably fully regulated, which is a good thing for the prices. I mean, that's not what people expected when first Bitcoin came out, but it's not a bad thing for XRP, because this is exactly the scenario that is good for XRP, which has been kind of trying to go for that, getting it fully regulated instead of being fully private and not relying on any government. It's trying to do that, so when they have all these legal contracts, they will know what an XRP is and how it works and what it offers.
Something Chair Paul Atkins previewed in July. Those include proposing rules about the offer and sale of digital assets, which the SEC said could potentially include certain exemptions and safe harbors. and clarifying how its broker-dealer rules apply to crypto. Additionally, the regulator says it will consider amending its rules to allow for crypto to be traded on national securities exchanges and alternative trading systems, and such decisions would be a huge win for the digital asset industry, which is already on the rise in 2025. So it's not just the pre-sales like I mentioned before. These banks are also going to be able to finally offer crypto custody services with this being launched, okay? This is being unveiled right now. We're going to get complete clarity this month on what it is going to look like. And I imagine that the largest banks are not going to wait too long in order to do this. I mean,
this is like the start of the crypto partnerships. I mean, I feel like this is what US is waiting for, those US banks. They're in very early stages right now before we actually get to that. Later on.
There's quite literally no reason for them to wait this out. They want to offer custodial services so that they can earn on the transaction fees, just like they do with the bank right now.
That's very true.
Of course. They want stable coins because this allows them to buy immense amount of treasuries, which they can earn a yield on. Of course. This just makes sense. This is a whole new business model for all of these banks to make trillions.
And I feel like banks will also like charge fees to buy, stable coins. So that's another part of them where they will make money.
Billions of more dollars. Why would they not take advantage of this instantly? Well, of course they are going to. They're in the business of money. They want to make money. They're money focused. That's the whole purpose of a bank. So this is crazy. But there's also a lot going on in the Federal Reserve as well, including...
Now this is the part where I skip because I don't really feel like it relates to XRP. But this part I really like. The U.S. labor market is in trouble. Job cuts just surged by 88,000 in August 2025 alone. So you see, jobs are back, which means year-to-date job cuts whopping 66%. There was a lot of firings, but this actually dropped down. So the unemployment rate is still super low. Productivity is still super high.
Rates. There's no other way. More liquidity needs to enter into the markets, and
that's why Jerome Powell will cut rates because of this firings we had. He's blaming them that we are going to be cutting the rates now and getting basically more jobs available to the market due to lower interest rates.
20. This brings the year-to-date total up to 892,000 job cuts, up a whopping 66%. Compared to 2024. What's happening to the labor market is a lot of pressure on employers. They don't have the money, they don't have the liquidity to employ these people, so they're forced to cut jobs. And AI is also playing into this as well.
I feel like AI hasn't fully replaced jobs. It has helped people, but it has also made more jobs. So maybe it cut a few jobs there and here. Or maybe but the real thing is that a lot of jobs are still available in the market.
Massive organizations are starting to realize that they can use AI instead of employing people and cut their costs down to a quarter of what they were previously. So of course, a lot of these companies who are solely focused on profits, because that's what they have to do to appeal to their shareholders, are doing this. If they're not doing this, they're not being a responsible business. But this is going to vastly change the way that the economy works as a whole. And this could potentially create a larger wealth disparity if not managed correctly. So we're going to hope that something is done about this. But what's even more insane is that in 5 days, the BLS is set to revise U.S. job numbers for the 12 months ending March 2025. And according to Goldman Sachs, a downward revision of up to 950,000 jobs is coming. This would be the biggest downward revision since 2010.
I don't even feel like, when we saw 2021, that was a real crisis because that's when jobs were actually unavailable. But now we're finally seeing, this is just a small bump, like it's just a 1 month, one-off basis. So this will not be the same scenario as 2021. There's actually way easier to get jobs, right? Unemployment rate is at all-time low in crypto history. Like crypto has never been fully like this positive, like in a full-on bull market, like bull market.
In summary, the situation that we're currently encountering is far worse than we previously thought. And once the Fed gets this data, they literally cannot not cut rates. If they don't cut rates, this probably is only going to expedite from here, and it's going to get much, much worse.
I feel like that their cutting rates is almost like a 99% chance for me. Like, we've been waiting for rate cuts for a long time. It's definitely going to happen, in my opinion.
Rates are far too high. Jobs are being lost left, right, and center. Companies, whether that's small, medium business or large corporations, desperately need more liquidity in the markets in order for them to operate and, of course, be profitable. So the Fed is going to do this. They have to do this at this point. If these numbers indeed are revised the way that Goldman Sachs is saying they're going to be, they have to. They simply have to. It's really that simple. So yeah, I mean, I look at the current price of XRP and I think to myself, wow, people are absolutely idiotic not to be buying these dips, in my own opinion. Anyways, and this is great. This is so amazing for me and my community because we've been able to consistently buy these lows when we're trading around 280 to 270 where we've been for the last little while here. And we've consistently been buying every single red day. And basically, when this all starts to play out and come to...
So just being at $2.8 is still very much hype levels because that means the whales are still buying above 2.5. As I told you guys, as long as we are above 2.5, I'm not too worried about that.
Fruition. I mean, it's literally as clear as day what has historically happened the last 10 times. Yeah. We've experienced anything remotely similar to this. The Fed cuts rates, more liquidity comes in, markets go up. And it's not going to happen the moment the Fed cuts rates. It's not going to happen the moment we all expect it to happen, but it'll happen eventually. And if you're buying at a point in time where people are being overly bearish on the market with all of these positive things that are in the works, I think you're going to do pretty well. That's just my own 2 cents, though.
I agree with that. I wouldn't be too afraid about this rate cuts. We have like rate cuts or anything. You just let the market take its course. The ETFs come out. It's going to work out fine.
And that's exactly what my indicator thinks too. My trading indicator has quite...
So yeah, you guys get the idea. These rate cut jobs are not that bad. Even if we lose a ton of jobs, tons are still in demand. So literally when people were saying, this is insane, this is just a one-time thing because I feel like Trump fired a lot of people. I didn't check the news too much on that. But it's not going to affect the XRP at all. We are entering the wildest stage of this XRP cycle, though. Raoul Paul, which is also a billionaire, has been talking about this. The wildest stage of the XRP cycle. Basically, he's calling the banana zone, or Tom Lee is calling it the phase 3. Which are the new cycles of people rallying up to push XRP to all-time highs.
Growth goes lower, debt growth keeps ballooning, and you have to keep refinancing all of this debt because there's not enough growth to grow your way out of the debt-based economy. But things started changing at the margin and really accelerated over COVID. Firstly, Amazon, I think, now employs more robots than it does humans.
We are currently on...
That's because of the AI super hype, basically. There's going to be a big plan for XRP holders. Like they're talking about AI and all this future stuff coming in. This is very much possible. AI could replace jobs, but it's not going to replace your job. It's just going to create extra jobs, more like into programming, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not too worried about that just yet.
So the rise of the robots is just starting. We're seeing Tesla with its Optimus robot. We're seeing Figure. We're seeing Boston.
These all robots are basically made to raise productivity. So people can do their own tasks. Like, they're going to be like a dishwasher. They're not going to they could replace some parts of work, but not the full work routine yet. Maybe in 20 years.
Dynamics, we're seeing a whole bunch of robotics companies. So humanoid robots really start to replace humans because they have dexterity. So they don't have to be for single tasks, much like machine learning was for single tasks, and AI is much broader. We're going to see multitasking robots. So that starts helping bolster the lack of humans in the population. But the robots will take longer to scale. Physical hardware, you have to manufacture it, you have to design it. We're still at early stage of this. So yes, we will see Tesla robots and others coming into, let's say, factories, but in our houses, It's probably 10, 15 years away, but it's coming. Now, the big lever here is AI. AI is basically infinite human knowledge. Now, why the magic formula works is because we've charged for and created an economic system around scarcity of labor and scarcity of knowledge. So as the labor scarcity got solved by the machine age and even the Industrial Revolution, we've seen a transition to service-based economies for humans. So that's where we have adapted and moved into places that don't require our manual labor as much.
So Raul Paul is basically saying a lot of the jobs with manual labor are going to get outsourced. That's why I feel like, XRP doing the fast transactions, even with AI, I'm not too scared that it's going to do worse for XRP. Instead, it's going to do better. What the humanity is trying to do now is basically save time by having this power of AI and power of fast transactions. So think about why these fast transactions are so important for the banks. They save people time and they raise productivity without having to wait 1, 2, 3 days. And they also save these banks fees.
Sure, there's plenty of manual labor, but it's been moving over time. Now, the issue is knowledge, whether it's simply a person working in a retail store or whether it's a lawyer, surgeon, doctor, accountant, creative designer, brand marketing, anything will soon get replaced by AI. And mainly the models are good enough now to do a lot of that, but over the next 5 or 6 years, these models are going to accelerate. Now, what's interesting is right now, we kind of assume that these models have an IQ of around 100. So they're sort of average human intelligence. But I think that's a bad way of looking at it because it has an IQ of 100 in every topic known to humanity. So it's a polymath with an IQ of 100 in everything. Now, as these models scale and the breakthroughs come through, and they will come through in the next 12 months, 24 months, we will see the average IQ of AI go from 100 to 400 and then on to 1,000. And then some people can say,
I feel like the AI is already like a 200 IQ already. Like, and again, what can it do that a human cannot do? That's the crazy part about it, is how fast this is. That AI is scaling. It also means that XRP will go up because a lot of their transactions, a lot of their problems that the employees are having with writing the code, once it goes to 400 or 1000 IQ, AI will literally be able to help the developers brainstorm to develop these fast transactions to make XRP go worldwide. That's what's happening right now. A lot of these developers are using AI technology to learn how to make these blockchains faster and stronger. The thing is, right now, AI can only guide them. In the future, it's going to have so much data, it can write the technology for them, and the developers will just have to basically solve it.
onto 1 million as this can compute. So 1 million times the intelligence of a human is a system that we don't understand. And I don't want to go into the singularity about what that all means. It's the economic singularity that I think is the most important to all of us and our financial futures. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about.
And so this economic singularity that Raoul Pal goes on to describe is essentially a place where there is infinite productivity, infinite scalability, because these online computing softwares and hardwares and robotics and AI, they're all working together to essentially be self-sufficient to continue.
So guys, remember this, the more productivity we have, why is everybody talking about AI? Because the more we have productivity, so why is XRP going up so much? Is because people have gotten jobs and we are more productive. That's literally the main reason why XRP could reach $10, $20 with this AI, and more world economy could be entering. I know it sounds kind of crazy, far-fetched, but when you think about it, productivity is actually 90% of the growth for XRP. XRP delivering updates, price goes up. XRP lawsuit finished, which is kind of productivity, that's also price goes up.
Continuously grow their knowledge base and to serve humans even better. They essentially replace the service industry with robotics and AI, which is insane, but it seems more and more realistic when you start to look at how robotics is advancing so incredibly quickly in all the most advanced economies in the world, such as China, the United States, and some parts of Europe as well. You see AI and robotics, like a real life robot that's able to do backflips, do parkour courses, able to serve people ice cream. These are things that are happening in America and China today. And so when you think about it, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, companies as we know them now will be drastically different, and so will the financial framework as well. If we can optimize absolutely everything to this same degree and this same scale, I mean, a lot of us realistically, seemingly, would just be able to enjoy our lives and not have to worry really about labor because everything is served to us. Now, that could be dystopian, that could be scary, but the fact of the matter...
I feel like this is going to be 10 years, but even in 5 years, XRP in the next cycle is going to have some sort of like, we're already going in real world assets. We're trying to go everything digital. That's where the big money is.
Remains. Cryptocurrency is going to be an integral part of that because we are going to need unverifiable, undisputable on-chain evidence for every single type of record and transaction for this world to operate in a way that we are happy with.
The biggest thing about it is we are seeing this right now with XRP, basically that they need a technology. All the governments, all the banks, they use crypto because they need the technology. And that's why XRP is really going to probably stay, in my opinion, with this lawsuit being over for a long time.
Then minimizes fraud and concerns around those types of things. And so yeah, I think that XRP is going to be a huge part of that. I think Bitcoin is going to be a big part of that. I think Ethereum are all going to be massive parts of that. And that's precisely why I am trading all of these cryptocurrencies around this type of information. Every single day, I'm using my Crusader signal and I'm updating my people in my crypto Crusader.
So yeah, you get a pretty clear idea of what's happening is productivity going up, which I predict will go up in the future. We might be seeing drop, in my personal opinion, in 2026, but have no crystal ball. But yeah, I'm just realistic on this channel. That's why we have like viewers here, is because a lot of people are expecting XRP will go up, 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 and this has happened. This has definitely happened for the last 1 month, but it might need like a few years or a few months to recover. So once that productivity goes up, XRP will still be building.